Welcome back to the channel. Tune in or go stout. If you are in the US, happy day before Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving by the time that you see this. That's even if you celebrate. I know a lot of people don't like the historical context of it, but they love the food. So whatever you do with your family, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. But that's not really what I want to talk about. It's been since Halloween that I've been thinking this, but I kind of hate the scarcity mindset that we all have today. This is a problem I contribute to myself, and I do it in the weirdest way. I do it by just talking about the economics of today. You know, as a late Gen Z, I'm right at 28, born in 97. Whether that's home ownership, a college education, even buying a car at this point is just out of my future. Some of these cars are going for like $100K. I'm never doing that. Definitely not for a Ram. But that's just a symptom of a larger problem. Growing up the way I did, I've always viewed life as very plentiful. Always went through life with the mindset of like, there's more than enough for everybody, you know? Like my backstory as a kid, I've talked about it on here before, but I traveled a ton. From here to Chicago to a couple places in between. And that was like an every summer thing, and in between that, when I would go back to school, my living situation would be unique, and this lasted up until like high school. High school is when I got my first steady footing in a community and we moved. But I say unique because at the time it was just me and my mother, and you know, I was going to school. I couldn't work, couldn't do anything. So a lot of the times we were renting the bottom half of a house, like living in basements, some deep lore. That was our living arrangement until like 2015 when, you know, my mother was able to afford her first house by herself. At that time I was in high school and I was very embarrassed about it. Not because of what was actually going on, because I was comfortable. I never really minded it. I understood why it was happening, and it's a part of life. And actually, now that I look at it, I was pretty thankful for how things went. But when I would tell people, you could kind of tell that they couldn't relate, or they would say some like kind of backhanded compliment like, oh, you must be so humble. And I never really paid any mind to it, because for me, it never really made me humble. If anything, it made me hungrier to chase things in life. Like, think about it. A single parent buys a house by themselves after coming to America in under 12 years. I was super proud of my mom, and that kind of set the standards for what I had to do even higher in my brain. I couldn't deny the possibility of change because I saw how effective change had been in my own personal life. Went from sleeping in a living room to sleeping in my own room, and that was truly one of the most eye-opening moments of my life. I say that to say going from poverty to middle class was really great for my mindset. Like anybody else, I went through a lot of things in my childhood, but to sum it up, I went from playing Call of Duty on a big back TV to having a flat screen in my own personal room. It did not take much to tell me that I could achieve the world if I wanted to. The slice of American pie was given to me, and that's still very much my mindset today. I would say it's an abundance mindset, that there's more than enough to go around. We just kind of have to get there. But that's not the mindset for most people my age or in my age range, and it makes sense. Like when you look around, everything is telling you that there's not enough and it's someone else's fault or it's something's fault. And I'm not really here to debate you on if that's true or not. You know, you'll believe what you believe. But I think that the conversation getting to that point is a sign that we as regular people have lost. I know everything seems to come back to class, but to me, it's crazy how people our age are just begging for a house. Nothing crazy. They will take a starter house with holes through the doors. Even if it doesn't have a door, they'll do what they need to fix it up to live in it, because the dreams of that right now are so unobtainable, and the amount of money you need to embark on that dream has almost made ownership a joke. The amount of advice I've heard from people that it actually is better to rent your home than own it is crazy. And it's not that they're wrong. Like, these people are smarter than me, they have more money than me, and I think they're right. It technically is better to rent your home than own it. But how quickly the sayings become true before we notice. Everybody quotes, "You'll owe nothing and be happy," and then when people actually owe nothing and are happy, it scares me. I'm all about financial literature. I'm all about understanding how to use your money and make it work for you, but it's just using us at this point. And I don't even think it comes back to a capitalist or whatever economic system. People can say it comes back to that, and while I do agree on a lot of things, capitalism is supposed to be abundance, but it's abundance on all the things that don't matter. There's no way everybody can have life-saving medicine or get insulin at affordable prices, but you can buy Oreos for cheaper than anywhere else in the world. You can go to Walmart and pick up a 50-inch TV for like $200, but then the average car costs $50,000. Whatever form of capitalism we have, whether it's just late stage or it's crony or it's the broken version, it is so hard to keep up with mentally. And everybody that talks about it just tells you it's, let the free market run, let the free market be free. Or they tell you the complete opposite and say that we need socialism and we need to actually put more protections for people. And I've been so conflicted on this conversation because I get it. I get why we're having the conversation. things are bad, we need to fix them, but I think we're starting at the wrong place. I don't know if it matters about capitalism or socialism. When you look at things like the American car market, why can't I get a car that looks nicer for half the price and that offers better amenities in China than I can in America? And that's a rhetorical question. I know why I can't get it, because that would destroy American car makers. Toyota would put half of them out of business if they were able to sell their $10,000 truck in America. But why do we have to suffer because of it? This is maybe something I'm noticing more as someone who's living in America, and I never really understood why people wanted to leave, but it is literally set up to price you out of your home. You look at people around the world that aren't doing great, they're not living luxury, but they're able to survive and create a path for themselves without being taxed like they're already rich. No $2,000 apartment, no median house of $500,000, no crazy tax for just being alive. And that's what I'm talking about, scarcity mindset in America. It seems everything in our life is limited, so when we think about the world, it's also very limited, especially as you see the finish line getting further day by day. I've talked about it. I've talked about the median home age going up, the average home buyer age going up, and these are things that even though you don't think about them every day, they don't just magically disappear because you're not. It seems like every day you're not 10xing your investments or doing more than you were yesterday, that bar is just getting pulled up higher, and it's getting pulled up higher on purpose. And that's what the system runs on, which is a bitter pill to swallow, is that it is about scarcity. It is about the fact that people can't have it, because if everyone could, the value would go down, right? Simple supply and demand. But when a system runs off capital and innovation, when you don't have one or the other, you start leaning heavily to one. While we have AI, and that is innovation in itself, I'm talking about innovation in the workforce or just in the country in general. Our roads are still some of the first roads ever laid down in this country. We've went away from building highways and building new homes and just gone into, being happy with what we had. And when you look at the innovation within society and how it's really driven by one force and lacking everywhere else, it's easy to see why things are the way they are. We've talked about unemployment, and when we do, I always say that it's not an unemployment problem. It's a job creation problem. You can't just hire only HR people or only receptionists. You have to innovate, create new positions, and kind of adapt to the time around you. And while Gen Z is good at adapting, literally we've had to adapt our entire life, especially people on the older side of Gen Z like myself. I saw the internet and I also was outside having fun. So going with the flow of things has always been kind of natural to me. But these prehistoric companies and just how our politics work do not want to move on to a better time. I don't know how you feel about climate change, and I'm not here to really convince you if you don't believe in it, but I've seen the weather in my area change, like in the past 5 years, and how the seasons kind of get less and less every time, and it's just hot. And while I love my gas cars, I drive an old school stick shift car, I also understand the importance of moving on to better sources of power. We're still having to convince the government or the people that be that nuclear power is good. How far in the future or less of a problem would energy be if we just stuck with nuclear from the start? We want to stay on gasoline and oil so badly at the detriment of the future, and that's kind of how everything seems like it's going. The better options and answers are right in front of us, but the old guard refuses to make the changes necessary because they know it's going to come with a lot of turbulence. And they know that turbulence does not matter to us, and we are willing to go through it because we have nothing to lose. This is why we resonate with the youth of Nepal, people who are willing to risk everything just at a shot of seeing change. As tech grows, as more surveillance gets introduced, it really feels like we're walking into a trap with handcuffs on, and the only way to uncuff yourself is to understand that it's not a scarcity problem. There are enough houses on the market. There is enough land to build houses. But the idea of ownership and having enough to supply to the people is against what they want. It hurts their bottom line, it hurts the shareholders, and at the end of the day, they could keep that land, Why should they give it to you when they could keep it for themselves? And that system is what's in place now, and it will change. Things do change. But when that change comes, we need to ask for what we truly want. An actual fix and a solution, not just more bandages to the gunshot wounds. For example, I was talking to my sister the other day, and we were talking about, fast food, especially how I just got sick off some Domino's. I was complaining about the quality and how it's way too expensive, and we agreed on that part. Everybody can identify the issue, but when we talked about the solution, we ended up at two very different places. She says that they need to lower the price. Like, it's not fair that we're paying $12 for just a regular pizza. And for me, yeah, lower the price, but also stop using fake ingredients. If you want to fix the problem, I feel like we should fix the whole problem. Americans used to have backbones, and they used to demand things, and I think we need to go back to that. We need to demand what we want, or we're never going to see the full change that we want to see. Domino's and whatever pizza place you get it from doesn't suck now because the prices are high. That is definitely one part of it, but half the ingredients are made of plastic, made of some type of seed oil or GMO, or it's 3D printed. There was a time where quality had to match the price, and the price wasn't even that much, but it was the respect they had for the customer. We talk about corporations like they're these evil things, largely because they are now, but Activision gave us MW2. Pizza Hut used to be a buffet where you used to eat at the restaurant and not just take it home. Chuck E. Cheese used to be a place of fun when I was a kid, not a place where I would watch the mouse get locked up and taken to jail. It's not a scarcity problem. It's a what will we tolerate problem. When it comes time to give a solution, will we compromise problem? And the only way we know that we're not going to compromise when it comes time to find an answer is by having a backbone and knowing what we want. I want to do better than my mom did. While I'm proud of her, seeing all the change that she was able to make put a little competitive edge in my mind. And as a child of a woman who worked hard, I want to do the same things in my life. I want to accomplish, I want to move up, and I want to have a future I can be proud of. And as I work towards that, I understand for people even younger than me that it's only going to be harder, and that kind of breaks my heart. I'm not trying to be an idealist, but wherever we're heading is not ideal for even the most bleak of scenarios. What happens when the first time home buying age goes up to 50? What happens when we introduce generational mortgages? And don't get me started on the direction of gaming. At this rate, we're going to have to pay by the hour to play some of our favorite games. If I see one more gaming subscription introduced, I'm probably going to lose it. But I say this just to say you should shoot for the moon. You can accomplish great things. You will accomplish great things, but that will only happen once you stop taking what they're selling you and forge a dream for yourself. But again, what do I know? I'm just an unemployed guy playing Call of Duty, sharing my opinion. If you've made it this far into the video, drop some game suggestions that you would like to see. I've kind of been thinking about uploading a single player game like Skyrim or Elder Scroll. While this has primarily been a Call of Duty commentary channel, I kind of want to play something else. I'm losing my love for gaming, I've noticed. But if you have any suggestions or games you would like to see me play and commentate over, let me know down below in the comments. I do read the comments. But yeah, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to join the thread. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in, and until next time.